Welcome back. Now what we need to do is that we need to work on increasing or decreasing the quantity of a specific meal. For example, suppose that the user wants to buy more than one meal. Then they would have to click on plus. If they want to decrease, if they changed their mind again and want to decrease the quantity, then they would have to click on this minus to decrease the quantity of that meal. So how would we do this? How would we increase or decrease this quantity? Well, we need to work on this form. Let me head on over to the project and work on it. So now in the project, the first step is that we need to activate this form. As you can see, this form has 3 inputs. The first step is that we need to add another input. So the third input that we need, the fourth input that we need is the product, the meal ID or the product ID. Because without the ID, we wouldn't be able to know which meal we should increase or decrease its quantity. So here I'm going to say input, and then I'm going to say hidden, the type is hidden, and the name is ID, and the value is equal to double curly braces and then product ID. Now for these inputs, first make sure that the first input has a type submit and the value is minus and the class is edit button, and the name is very important. The name, make sure that the name is decrease underscore product underscore quantity underscore button. The second input is hidden and the name is ID and the value is product ID. The third input is the type is number, the name is quantity, the value is product quantity, and here make sure that it's read only. Make sure that this is read only. The final input is must have a type submit as well, and the value is plus, the class edit button. The name also is very, very important. The name must be increase underscore product underscore quantity underscore button. Now we need to activate this form. So to activate this form, we need to give it 2 things. We need to give it method, and the method is going to be post, and we need to give it action. And the action is going to be double curly braces, and then root, and then edit underscore product underscore quantity. Finally, for this form, we need to give it the @CSRF code, CSRF. And we are done with the form. Next, we need to create this edit product quantity quantity root. So we need to head on over to the web in order to create this edit product quantity root. So let me head on over to the web. So in the web, we need to create this root. I'm gonna copy these 2 lines because they are gonna be the same as they are gonna be the same. So I'm gonna paste them here, and then I'm gonna change this to edit underscore product underscore quantity, and here the function name is edit underscore product underscore quantity, and the name of the root is edit underscore product underscore quantity. In case the user tries to edit the product using a get method, we will not allow the user to do so. So I'm going to say here edit product quantity, and then it's just going to redirect the user to the main page in case the user tries to edit a product using a get request. We also need to create the edit product quantity. So let me head on over to the cart controller to create this function edit product quantity. I'm going to say here function, let me give myself some space first. I'm going to say here function edit underscore product underscore quantity, and we need to pass the request as a parameter request, because this is a post request, and then we need here to get the product ID and the product quantity. But before we do this, we need to first use if statement to check whether we have a cart or not, because if we don't have a cart, it means that we cannot increase or decrease any product because we don't have any product in the cart. So we need to say here request, and then session, and then has cart if we have a cart, if the cart is not empty, if we have a cart, then we need to get two things. We need to get the product ID. We need to say product underscore ID is equal to request input, and we get the ID. Similarly, for the quantity, we need to say product quantity. So the product quantity is going to be equal to request and then input quantity. Now we need to do a very important thing, which is accessing the cart and increasing that quantity of that particular product. So we need to say here cart and then request session, and then get cart, get, and we need to access the cart, get cart. Now we have the cart. Now since we have the cart, we need to access that particular product. And to access that particular product, first we need to check whether we have that product or not. We always need to add extra protection so that we don't mess with the system, we don't ruin the system, because the user might something could go wrong, and the user might mistakenly go to a route that would increase a product that doesn't even exist. So we need to say here array key exists. This function is going to check whether the product ID, this product ID, product underscore ID, exists in the cart session, in the cart array. If it exists, then we can increase the quantity. So here, in case it exists, we need to say cart product ID. We need to access that particular product. We need to say cart product ID, and then we need to access the quantity key, because this cart product ID is going to return an array, an associative array, and we need to say quantity to access the quantity, and then we need to say the quantity now is equal to the new quantity, which is the product quantity. That's it. Finally, we need to put the cart, the updated cart, back into the session. So we need to say request session and then put, and then we put the cart back into the session. Cart. And finally, we recalculate as usual. We recalculate the total. So we need to call this and then calculate total cart, and we pass the request. This is going to recalculate the total again, because the total now obviously has changed, because the quantity now has been decreased or increased. Finally, we just need to return to the cart. So after all of this, we need to say here return view cart. And I want you to notice that I'm returning to the cart regardless of whether the cart is empty or not. We don't care. We just need to return the cart. If the cart is empty, then and the user tries to edit something in the cart, it's just going to take the user to the cart without executing this code. So there is no problem with returning to the cart even if the cart is empty. The last thing that we need to do with this function is that we want to determine which button has been clicked, because without knowing which button has been clicked, we wouldn't be able to know whether we should increase or decrease the quantity. Because now the quantity, we got the quantity, but the quantity will never be changed, because the quantity is the same, is always going to be the same unless we determine whether we should increase it or decrease it. And to determine whether we should increase it or decrease it, we need to check which button has been clicked, whether the decrease button or the increase button. And to do this, we need to add here if statement. We need to say if the request has the decrease product quantity button, let me copy the name, then it means that this button has been clicked. This is why I told you the name is important. So if the request has decrease underscore product underscore quantity underscore button, it means that the decrease button has been clicked. Else if request has increase underscore product underscore quantity underscore button, it means that this button has been clicked. Let me copy the name. Let me paste it here. So else if the request has increase underscore product underscore quantity underscore button, it means that the increase button has been clicked. Else it means neither of the buttons has been clicked. So here, in case the decrease button has been clicked, we need to decrease. In case the decrease button has been clicked, we need to decrease the quantity. So we need to say product quantity is going to be equal to the original quantity minus 1. And in case the increase button has been clicked, we need to say product quantity is equal to the original quantity plus 1. We increase it by 1. Else we do nothing. Else the product quantity will remain the same. We don't do anything. Now we are done with this function. Let me save and let me head on over to the browser to test. So now in the browser, let me here refresh the cart. I'm going to go to the cart one more time and refresh. And let me now click on plus. If I click on plus, as you can see, the quantity has been increased. And here, the subtotal increased as well. So 2 multiplied by 24.99, the result is 49.98. Let me click on plus one more time. And as you can see, the quantity increased. Let's test now the minus. If I click on minus, the quantity decreased. If I click on minus, the quantity decreased again. If I click on minus, it's going to go to the 0. So this is a problem. If I click on minus one more time, it's going to be minus 1. And this is obviously a problem. So we need to fix this problem. To fix this problem, we need to check the quantity. So here after we calculate the quantity, we need to check whether the quantity is 0 or less. So here we need to say if the product quantity is equal is smaller than or equal 0, then we need to remove the quantity from the cart, remove the product from the cart. So if the quantity here is 0 or minus 1 or minus 2, so if it's 0 or less, we need to remove the meal completely from the cart, and here remove everything from the cart. So here I'm going to say if the product quantity is smaller than or equal 0, we need to call the remove button. We need to say remove from cart, and we need to pass the request. That's it. So in case the product quantity is less than or equal 0, we remove the product from the cart, and the remove from cart function will take care of everything. Let me save and test. So now let me refresh the cart one more time. Let me now decrease. If I decrease, as you can see, the product will be removed from the cart completely. Let me test again with another product. For example, this. If I add this meal to cart and if I try to decrease the quantity to 0, as you can see, the meal will be gone, will be removed from the cart, because the user cannot buy 0 products. The user cannot buy 0 meals. The user cannot buy meals that have quantities less than 0.